Because it's there for you in the book, and you know all the things that he has done. But I'll, in a way, try to get you to how he got there. And that started back when he was 2. It's not the cradle. I was playing ball for the Dunkirk Fredonia rookies at the time, and David was 2 years old, and that's all he wanted to do was to swing the bat. And we were over in Stockton playing. I think Bobby Clark was pitching, and I was up to bat, and he threw a pitch inside. I hit it a long way foul, and I heard the crowd go, "Wow, woo." And I turned around, and they got back out of the box, and there was my dad throwing balls to my brother David, and he was whacking them out there, and the crowd wasn't looking at me, they were watching him. Well, we knew something was going to go right for this guy, and he got into Little League, and by the time he was 12 years old, they weren't pitching to him anymore. He got intentionally walked with the bases loaded. That was 12 years old. 13, when he was 13, I took him up on the rookies in the men's league, and at the beginning of the year, most of the guys that I had on my team were still playing in high school. And I always, the first couple of games, would have to get some guys to fill in. And I got Al Stumiller played, the Larson brothers played, Roger Moore played. We just got a few guys together to play. And I had a 13-year-old out in right field. That was my brother David. After the game, Roger Moore came up to me and he says, "Pete, I'm retired. Don't ever ask me to play again." I said, "What's the matter, Raj?" He says, "I went in the glove 3 times, and a 13-year-old kid had 3 hits." He says, "I retire." That was the first game that he played, and then again as a 13-year-old, I had him in right field at the time, over in Forestville, and they looked at this little kid. The grass was up to his knees, and it didn't even look like he was out there. They were going to take advantage of this kid. Base hit, man on second base. They sent the man home, out. Okay, and that started it. From that point on, he was a terror here in Chautauqua County in high school. Again, as you saw in the book, he probably was at that time. I don't know since then. The youngest kid playing in an all-star game at the stadium with the county all-stars against the Great Belt League all-stars, and hit one out of the stadium. And at that time, I don't know if anything has been that way since, but anyone has hit one since, but 13 years old and hits one out. There was another instance. I forgot what I was going to say. Well, that's okay. If I just give you a couple other little episodes, I promise you 3 minutes, okay. When he was playing in the majors, it was probably one of the biggest thrills of my life. He had been called up to Baltimore, and he were playing Milwaukee, and the relief pitcher came in. It was in the bottom of the 11th inning, and he came up to bat against the pitcher, Sam Hines, and he hit one out, a walk-off home run. And I'll tell you, whether you're jumping, laughing, crying, it was great. After the game, went down in the waiting for him outside the clubhouse, and somebody came out, got me and my son Peter to go on in, and being a rookie, they had a crowd around them, a crowd of reporters. So I sat down right across from me, a little closer than you are. It was Brooks Robinson. Wow. I had my son on my knee. He was 7 years old, and he went back, got me a beer, and he got my son a Coke, and we shot the baloney with him. Well, 10 years later, my son is now 17. We're up at the old rock pile in Buffalo. He was on the all Western New York team, and they had them up there to take their pictures and had them to shag for the old timers game, and he went out there. He went out to third base and stood next to Brooks Robinson. Remember me? Robinson looked at him and said, "No." 10 years later, then he told him who he was, and he says, "Oh, yeah." He remembered David very well. And he took his duffel bag, took it in, and got all of the guys' autographs for him. For me, it's been great having him as a brother, as a player, being his coach, and we play golf together almost every day during the summer. We hunt together, and this is a great privilege to welcome my brother David into the Chautauqua County Hall of Fame. Have your father here with you. Well, I'd like to congratulate all the Hall of Famer inductees for this year, and all the athletes that are recognized tonight. You've done yourselves proud, and you've made Chautauqua County proud. Dan, I appreciate the nice words, and just so you know, I remember that hit. As a baseball player, you remember when you have good hits. I'd just like to also thank some of my Goombas that came tonight. Two people that will probably be in the Sports Hall of Fame, Dave Polchetti and John Bungiovanni, probably two of the best basketball and softball coaches in the area. And I'd like to some of the questions that I've been asked is, how do you feel about making it into the Hall of Fame? I said, well, my answer is this. I feel very, very, very fortunate. When I look around the room, and first of all, I'm in the Hall of Fame now with my brother Pete, but I look around the room and I see people like Bill Race, Danny Mazzaros, Art Asquith, former Hall of Famers like Joe Sanfilippo, my former high school coach who made me the way I am. Usually I made it through some of the games for some of the umpires that were here. Roger Moore, and I could go on and name a few. It's nice to be enshrined with some of these people, with all the class and dignity that they have. It's nice to be here where I see old friends that I played with. One of my toughest competitors that I ever played with was Craig Paternini. I wish he could be here tonight. I see some of my former foes out there. We used to have some really good verbal battles before the games. Rooster, you know what I'm talking about. We had this conversation before when you were putting my carpet in. But it really is an honor. We're glad to have Thurman Thomas here. Thurman, of course, was in the glory years of the Bills. His group was using our office. Dale Till and I coached together for 20 years, and they used to walk the halls of Fredonia State, and we'd always, take a peek. It was Thurman, and Jimmy. But it is a real honor, and I want to thank Russ Diedrich and Randy and Jim. We had a good conversation when we did a little radio show at WJTN, and they asked me, tell them a story. And I said, well, I played for one of the most fiery coaches when I was in high school, Al Stumler. I don't know how many games that he made it through. But I can remember playing in New York when I went to the big leagues. And we were playing, and we started out, we were ahead of the Yankees, a couple runs, 2-0. And then
Scotty McGregor was pitching, and I stuck down a finger, and Roy White hit one out to left. And I stuck down another finger, and Greg Nettles hit one in the upper deck to right. And they called me in the dugout, and they said, "Let me check your fingers." And then we went back out, and I helped Thurman make history, because Thurman hit his 100th home run to right. Things just weren't going my way. Earl was not a happy man. He kept telling me, he says, "Did you look at those cards before the game on how to pitch these guys?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm just putting my fingers down, and they're hitting them like crazy." Well, as the game went on, Mickey Rivers was on first, and Billy Martin was managing for the Yankees at that time. He was my former manager when I was playing with Texas Rangers. And of course, a little more fire, So Earl and Billy, they didn't like each other. And so anyway, Mickey Rivers was on first, and I knew darn well he was going. And so I called the pitch out, and I threw down to second. Well, the umpire, he went like this, safe, but he called him out. And so, of course, that didn't take long. Earl was on the field, his hat was turned around. He goes, "Well, what is he?" He said, "Earl," he said, "you and I both know that I called him out." He said, "But 50,000 people saw me go safe." He says, "What do you think?" I'd just like to say thanks again. I really appreciate it. On behalf of my wife, 36 years, Marge, could you stand up, please? And also in attendance tonight, the person that helped to shape my life, and my brothers, my 3 other brothers, my mom, who just turned 93 2 weeks ago. Thank you very much.